Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is our 15th Professional and Academic Development Series, PADS. And just a little background information about this event. This is an event that the Doctorado Interinstitucional en Educación and the Grupo de Investigación EILA organize every month. And we usually have different topics, academic topics, sometimes more focused on practical aspects such as writing, academic writing. And this is what we're going to do today. We have two special guests, Dr. María Guapacha, María Eugenia Guapacha, and Orlando Chaves. They are doctors of philosophy in applied linguistics, and they are also faculty at Universidad del Valle. Their research focuses on actually writing processes. So this is why this presentation is very meaningful, because this is their area of expertise, research, writing processes. Okay, so their presentation is titled Reading Effectively for Research. And I would like to welcome you all and welcome Maria and Orlando. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Demar. Yeah, it's our pleasure to share what we have learned with all of you.
Yeah,
okay,
good day to all.
So I'm going.
Thank you for our presentation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing the screen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, so we proposed this workshop because when doing research, we need to apply some key strategies like reading, writing, and organizational strategies to make our research more effective, right? So sometimes we take for granted that we are lecturers, well, or undergraduates or graduate students, and we have developed all these strategies, but it turns out that yeah, we lack these strategies. For example, that happened to me when I started my PhD. I lacked most of these reading, writing, and organizational strategies. And I took a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time by trying to remember the readings or trying to find them. Yeah. So we propose this workshop for all of you, for graduate students and undergraduate students, because, well, undergraduate students need this information for next semester when you start your thinking of your research project. So you need to know how to find articles and how to organize information related to your topic of interest. And also for graduate students, for masters and PhD students, it's very useful. Waste time trying to remember where you found the information. Okay, so, well, first of all, let's start with some humor here. Well, being a graduate student is like becoming all the 7 dwarfs. In the beginning, you are dopey and bashful, so very shy. In the middle, you are usually sick, tired, and irritable, so you become sneezy, sleepy, and grumpy. But at the end, they call you Duck, and then you're happy. So, well, at which stage are you at the moment, guys? Are you dopey and bashful, or sneezy, sleepy, and grumpy? Have you identified yourself with any of these dwarfs?
Yes, sleepy. We say it at the same time.
Yeah, sleepy. Yeah, true. Yeah, and grumpy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but at the end, yeah, you will be very happy when you succeed, and they all call you a doctor. Okay. So this is the outline of our presentation. It has 3 parts. Part 1 is about key strategies for finding and storing information. Part 2 is about strategies for reading effectively. And part 3 is about reading introductory sections and identifying moves. So all these strategies are connected with writing, reading and writing, because when you identify important information in articles, you identify the structure and important moves, and in that way you can transfer those strategies to your writing. So, well, let's start with a warm-up. So I would like you to take a screenshot or a picture of these questions, okay? And I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to use the breakout rooms function here and make groups. So in your groups, you are going to discuss some of these questions, okay? So these questions are related about the strategies that you use to read effectively, to store the information effectively, okay? So you just share what you do. If you don't do anything of this, well, it's just okay, okay? So, breakout rooms, we're at this moment, it's 19.
So I create 5 groups, right?
Yeah,
and so this warm-up is about the, let's say, the pre-reading. The
pre-reading strategies and also a story references.
Yeah, where you look for the information, how do you handle all those references you find. Yeah.
Okay, so now everyone's back. Okay. So would you like to share whether you share in your groups? So what, where do you look for information for your research? What reference management tools do you use to save research articles? So who wants to volunteer and share the strategies that you use or the tools that you use?
No, very briefly in my group, we discussed about well, where do we look for information? We discussed about, you know, the library webpage and databases. It has become pretty handy for us. But we also discussed the Russian pirate web pages, you know, Library Genesis and BOK. I gotta be honest, I love them. I have found very nice material there. And of course, Sci-Hub. You know, I've probably you have heard about Sci-Hub in all the trial they're having now in India. So yeah, that's what I use when I cannot get a hold on piece of information, an article or something, and I happen to have the URL, then I use the site and I downloaded it for free. So yeah, that's what we use. About the management tools, we all agreed on Mendeley. It's kind of like the one we know the most. We, however, discussed some of the drawbacks, and is that when it comes to putting the reference list at the end, that you want to do it like automatically, it is not very accurate in the way it's, you know, like it transcribes whether it is a book or it is an article in a journal. So sometimes we have to do it manually on the document that we're writing. But anyhow, it does help a lot to have everything organized in Mendeley, you know. So it's I have to be honest, I have abandoned a little bit Mendeley for a moment, but I do know it is really useful. The other guys in the group say that they have been using it. About Google Scholar, oh my God, it is so useful. We discussed about, for example, for me, one of the usages that I give to it is about references as well. Sometimes I don't find the correct way to put it in a reference list, so I go Google it, and then it gives me how many people have quoted or have cited or have referenced that work, and it gives me the right way in APA or in other format if I need it. Databases, well, we use the ones offered by Univalle, and how skillful we are. I think we have been you know, getting into it a lot with the PhD. So yeah. I think we're still in the process, but I think we're pretty good now.
Okay.
Now the good thing is that they all the time offer, you know, like this workshops and stuff, and they're very willing to help you find stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and have you, or do you know how to use the alerts, how to create an alert or organize your library, Google Scholar, save items? Have you explored those possibilities? Okay, yeah, so we are going to share those tips. Okay, thank you, Alice. Yeah, so I think that you are applying good strategies in your research. Yeah, and that's what we're going to share. Yeah, anybody else? Carlos, you wanted to say something?
Well, really, my answer is not very different from Alex's. So yeah, basically we use the databases that the library website has available on the this Biblioteca Digital, right?
Yeah.
If you have a user and a password, then you can access different databases directly,
Yeah.
and download more articles than when you don't have the user created. Yes, we use Google Scholar, but very basically, of course, when you have a profile, you get notifications, you get like alerts, but really, we're not really familiar of how to do it. It's like more
Okay.
incidentally. Sometimes I get notifications of, oh, this is very useful. And yeah, basically, I think the rest is very similar to Alexander. Only we don't advertise pirating a piece. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, well, thank you, Carlos, for sharing. Yeah, anybody else wants to share something different?
In my group, there are several undergraduate students. I'm very happy that it's quite similar to PhD advanced research using. Basically, the library of the university, databases, and of course, Google Scholar. Tools, not any in particular. Yeah, you know what, undergraduate level, you use any in particular. Google Scholar was interesting how some of the students know how to use the keywords, which are essential for getting good results. And regarding skillfulness, yeah, most of us, we consider with some doubt based on the language. If it's French, Claudia is expert. Not the rest of us in French, but yes, English, yes, in Spanish, good. It's very good. Yeah, that was what we shared in our group.
Okay, well, it's good to know that you have some of this information. So, yeah, so you are not that bad about strategies about how to find information. That's good to know.
We are very good.
Very good. Okay, so, well, these are the key strategies for finding and storing information. Yeah, first you need to know how to find this information in databases, how to set up alerts on, well, different databases. For example, Google Scholar. We just hear about Google Scholar so much, but we don't know, well, all the functionalities of this search engine. And well, we need to apply strategies for storing this information because, yeah, it's not that only just to read or save it to your computer. No, we need tools and strategies to save the information we find and read. Okay, so today we're going to focus just on Google Universidad del Valle base de datos database and Google Scholar because, well, there are so many databases. But yeah, we want to advertise our university's database, which is very good, very good.
Yeah, also because those are the two handiest ones. One is institutional and the other one which is free for everybody.
Yeah, well, if you can't find it, well, you have to buy a book or just going to other libraries that have open access to everything people can upload there. Okay, so well, one way to get access to the database of the university, you just Google it on, just Google any search engine, Mozilla or anything that you use, and just type base de datos. So that's one way to go to the base de datos de la universidad. Or, well, just another alternative is just to go to the web page. So for those who don't know, well, students have access to this database, okay? In the case of professors or lecturers, you need to request access. So they will send you a password and you can have access to the database. But for
Online.
all students, all the active students or that are enrolled in the university, well, you have access to the database. Well, in case you don't have access, we just request it. I'm going to show you where you can request it. Well, I can share the link with you. Yeah, well, so you go to base de datos. I'm going to copy the link so you can have it handy. Yeah, so you get here and well, we have access, all the faculties have access to several journals, very important journals in our fields. For example, here in humanities, we have Redalic. And here you can find the link to request access to the database. So if you as a student have any problem with this, you just click on that link that I sent you in the chat, or just email mediateca@correounivalle and just ask for a password. Well, in my case, I have already asked for a password, so that's why I cannot ask for another one. And well, once you have access, when you go to the library and you just type anything you want to find. Yeah. So yeah, Orlando, I'm going just to pass this to you so you can continue explaining.
Yeah, thank you. Here, this is on this page, you have the usual browser. You just write for keywords. You can also click on a title if you already know what specific article you are looking for, or the author if you already know, or maybe sometimes you just know the last name, you can just check. Or you can use the búsqueda avanzada in a moment. I will.
No, the chat, yeah, I just click on the link in the chat so you can do it and show them.
Okay. So it's open, take it some time. División de bibliotecas. But I should share my screen, right? Okay, let me share that one. Bases de datos. Bases de datos. That's it. This one?
I send the link, the second link in the chat.
Yeah, that's the second one, the bases de datos.
Yeah.
Okay. Servicios documentales, inicios. Okay. You go to Biblioteca Digital. That's not a direct link. Yeah. And there you just look for instance for, yeah, let's look for Sherlock Holmes. And there you find, is this about Sherlock Holmes? Fotografías en tipo de alta icónica. That's in Spanish. Dark side, okay, this is it. So it's the usual way you do search and find. Then, of course, you click on the one of the documents you want to read and you do the reading. So, yes, that's it. A very brief illustration of it.
Okay, yeah, so here is just very easy. Well, you just find the article, the name of the article, or just a keyword, let's say ESL writing or EFL writing, and then you will have access to many articles, and that's for free. So the thing is that in the university, you have access to articles that you have to buy. Yeah, you have to buy, but through the university, you don't need to buy them. You have access, but that depends on the, well, the access that we have to several journals.
Now we know where some of the fees we pay go to. in the matricula, the registration, some of the academic fees go to pay these databases.
Yeah, or just type the author. Well, we share this information because we hear our undergraduate students saying, oh, teacher, we don't have access to these articles. How can we get access to this? And they don't even know that they have access to the university. So it's very important for them to know that they can find so many articles or probably books from our university. So you don't have to buy or use any other means. Well, this is just an example of how you can just find easy articles through our university's database. Okay. Yeah, well, we are not going to explore this in depth because
the library of the university is one of the most complete in Colombia.
Yeah. Okay, well, and the other way to find articles or create alerts that are related to our research, or to find literature reviews, systematic literature reviews in our area, well, it's just very easy. We just go to Google Scholar, and we can save articles. So if you don't know what all these icons are about, so you can save articles that are related to your topic, and you create your own library. So the digital library, and it's this icon. So this is for saving articles related to your topic. The quotation marks are used for, yeah,
so just click on the star and you will save the item.
Yeah, I will show you this example. Well, first I'm going to show you the slides, and then we'll go through the example online, and then we'll assign a task for you to do. And as Alex said, well, it's very useful because you can find different referencing formats here. For example, APA. APA is the one, yeah, that we are using currently. But well, you just have to stick to the format that your university requests.
There is a word of caution with the references in Google Scholar. They not always, because it's machine generated, so they are not always accurate. So in the case of a person that is called, I'm using your name, Alexander Ramirez Chaves, Google Scholar might think that is Chaves. They use the last name, the last word as the last name. And probably the name will be Alexander Ramirez. So, machine. So you have to be careful. But yeah, you just click there on the APA or Chicago MLA, any of them. Click on them and copy paste, and then check. You need to check.
Yeah, well, something is that, well, in Spanish we say APA. But I remember that when I came here to New Zealand, I said APA, and they were asking me like, "What is APA? What are you talking about?"
APA,
and I was like, "Well, this reference, APA." Oh, I thought it was the same.
Of course not.
Yeah. Well, so in English they understand it by APA and not APA. Well, that's something to share with you guys. Yeah, so as Orlando said, we have to be very careful. Anyway, we have to learn by heart how to cite all the references correctly. And, well, how to create alerts. Yeah, that's something very useful too. I did it when I was doing my PhD. So it's very useful for you, so you keep up to date to the recent articles. Sorry, Orlando?
Can you go back for a second? Can you go back to the... Yeah, for the setting up the alert, you go to the menu, the 3 lines icon.
We are going to do it.
And there you will find the create alert icon, okay? That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to show you later. It's just to,
Yeah, this is shown.
And, okay, Orlando, so you want to explain this before we go to the...
Oh yeah, this was something that was mentioned in our group, which is very interesting. Well, by default, Google Scholar uses AND. So every word you write in the search terms, isolated words or phrases, it will be and. So all of them will be included in the search. But in some other cases, you can use other search terms. Well, those search terms are usually taken from your research questions and objectives, your topic. But you can also, well, use authors. Example briefly here is, if my research question is, what are the experiences of using formative assessment and rubrics to assess social emotional skills, SEMS? So the ones that are underlined would be like the keywords, the key constructs to search. So the three arrows at the bottom part tell you which could be some of the search terms: assessment of social emotional skills, or assessment of SEMS, or just social emotional skills, or you are more specific and you go for formative assessment of SEMS, or you add another term, which is rubrics and social emotional skills. And would be, we go to the next slide, would be one of the connectors, the Boolean operators. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this would be the search results, I mean, for assessment of social skills. So the quality, let's say, the pertinence, the relevance of the results depend on how accurate is the search term. That is one of the first skills you need to develop. At the beginning is just too general, and you feel that the results are not so accurate. So tips: take your basic constructs from your research questions, and that will do. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, this is for the search operators, the Boolean operators. I already mentioned R. You can use or to include other things. For instance, in looking for peanuts or nuts, both of them will appear, peanuts or nuts in this case. You can also use quotation marks and others that appear in the advanced search box, which is on the right side of the screen. Very briefly.
So we are going to show you how to do all this on Google Scholar. So how to find relevant articles, save articles per topic. So we are going to create folders on Google Scholar, and that's something that, well, I didn't know before, that we could create folders and store all our articles, and how to create alerts, and well, and so you're going to pay attention to this, because then you're going to do the same task. Okay, so let's go to the page. Okay, well, you just go the usual way. You can just type Google Scholar.
Or Google Académico if you are looking for that in
Spanish. Yeah, or yeah. English. Yeah, so, well, here, when you start finding information, Google Scholar starts identifying the type of research or articles that you keep looking for, right? So he suggests several articles, PDF, well, everything is related to your topic. As my research topic is related to EFL writing assessment, Google Scholar suggests several titles or articles. So when you say, oh, well, this is like very interesting, you just click on this and it will save automatically to your library. So I'm going just to show you here. Well, some of us have created a profile on Google
Your
Scholar.
library is up there, right?
Yeah, so you can have your profile and you can well, insert all the information you want to provide, like articles or papers, presentations. You can just upload whatever you need to do here, and it provides the number of citations. But here you have to be very careful because this number can be inflated by false information. So what happens? Yeah, for example, you can see, oh yeah, this author has been cited like 500 times or 1,000 times, but it turns out that there are authors that have your same name, yeah, like let's say Orlando Chaves, in engineering or
in
biology, geography.
Yeah, I receive, there are other authors called Orlando Chaves. There is another one that is O. Chaves Baron, and they work in the area of, one of them works in biology and the other one in nuclear physics. And they are all the time suggesting me, this article yours, this article, lots of citations. But no, I cannot do that. It's part of my ethics in the profile.
Exactly. So you have to keep an eye on this profile and delete all the articles that are unrelated to you because, well, that would be giving misleading information. Okay, so you have the profile and also, well, my library.
Ethics of cattle.
Yeah, and these are the articles that I have saved in, I have saved here. Self-assessment, so you can see this is the last one that I saved and it's stored in my library. So I don't need it to download it immediately, but I save it in my library. And well, if I want, I can just create different folders here to create it. So I'm going to show you. I'm going back. Yeah.
So it's a very good tool to manage your references.
Yeah. Let's say that I'm investigating about critical pedagogy. Okay, critical pedagogy in L2. Okay, and I start just reading articles. Okay, and I say, oh, okay. Oh, well, this one sounds very like interesting. Well, I save it. Yeah, I save it, and then it says, okay, so what do you want to save it? L2 writing? Research methods? No, this is going to be critical pedagogy. And I just save the article there. And you'll see that then when I go to my library, it will be there, but particularly under this label or folder. So it's a digital folder. So you don't have to download everything to your computer. Okay, research methods. And it's for free. Yeah. Okay, so you have this one. You decide whether you want to read it online or not. L2 writing. All the articles about L2 writing. And if you have a referencing management tools such as Mendeley or RefWorks or any other, well, you just export all these articles to your internal library in your computer. Okay, so that's one tip that you saved. You can also change the label to, oh no, I don't want it here. I want it in another folder. So you create as many folders as you want. Okay, I'm going back to show you other details. Okay, this here. So critical pedagogy in L2. So you say, oh, okay, I want to investigate something related to this topic, but I don't know what. I'm finding my topic. Okay, so here on the left, you can see that there are review articles. Any type, no, review articles. And you will find everything that are related to literature review, systematic literature reviews. And what are those? Orlando, would you like to tell them? What is a literature review?
A literature review synthesizes the literature in one area. So you go for the ones that are more recent in your area, and that way you will have like a state of the art of what has been investigated in your area. It's very useful to find what has been said and who is in the loop for your study.
Exactly. So let's try another one. Let's say in EFL classroom, and I say review articles again. review articles. So he will, this will pick up all the review articles because they are identifying the keywords of those articles. So when you write your abstract, you have to insert keywords. And if it is literature review is a keyword for your article. So what this engine does is to, well, find quickly those keywords related to a literature review on critical pedagogy EFL classroom. So, and then you start reading, all of them are literature reviews, and then you start reading the most frequent ones, and the most recent ones, for example, this one from 2021, and you say, okay, let's see what they suggest. Because typically, literature reviews say, oh, we need to do research on this topic with these participants, with these types of methods, using this theoretical framework. So you say, oh, very easy, I just found my topic. And you don't have to bother like thinking, oh, what should I investigate? So this is another topic, another tip, that you can, well, use on Google Scholar. And you just say, okay.
Yeah, look, Google Scholar by default looks for empirical literature studies, research. The review articles features, you can focus on the literature, not empirical data, but secondary studies, secondary research.
Yeah, so this is very useful for undergraduate students. So next semester, when you need to start finding a topic, just type this information, literature, and then you say, oh, okay, so this is the topic that we need to investigate, and just start reading more about this topic. And also for, well, PhD students and master's students who want to start their masters, but they haven't identified any topic. So that's very, okay. And another tip is just that you identify the topic, you say, okay, I want to read and investigate about critical pedagogy in EFL classrooms. So this is also here on the left-hand side. Okay, here. Yeah, so I just type this, critical pedagogy, and create the alert. Or if I want to create another one about another topic, I don't know, tell me one topic.
Intercultural communicative competence.
Okay. Okay, communicative competence. Okay, so I just create an alert. And what happens with this? Well, if you're tired of these alerts, you just come to Google Scholar and cancel it. Or this is the types of alerts that you can receive. So I'm going to show you. So one of my alerts is L2 writing assessment. Okay. And look, it's all articles or books related to L2 writing assessment that are really recent from 2021, 2022. So look at the dates. And all of them are related to L2 writing assessment, and I keep updated on the last trends or research or articles for my research. And you are tired of receiving all these alerts, you just click on this and cancel it. So that's it. Well, so those are the uses of Google Scholar. So, but sometimes we don't know how to use it. Orlando?
Yes, just to say that these alerts are the equivalent of the online, the synchronic search. You have the machine looking for articles for you while you are doing something else. So it's very good because you receive every other day or every day, depends, or every week, depends on the frequency you set up, and you will receive articles on your topic. It's very good.
Yeah. Okay, so now, well, it's time for you to do this task, okay? So you're going to type 1 or 2 research topics on the browser, any topic. And
go to Google Scholar, right?
yeah, Google Scholar. Yeah, you have to go to Google Scholar. Then save 3 research articles. Remember that you save them clicking on the star, yeah, the star, and then you save them to your library. You need labels for just saving these articles into 2 different topics. And create 1 or 2 others, and then, well, you share this with us, okay? So is this clear? So you just go to Google Scholar, yes. Type any topic that you are interested in, okay? Then save 2 or 3 articles and create the labels. Remember that you can say intercultural communicative competence, or I don't know, translanguaging. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to give you 5 minutes.
Yeah, this assignment has a score, right? We are teachers, we evaluate, so you will need to provide evidence with your
evidence, screen. Yeah. Otherwise,
yeah.
You won't get your certificate.
Yeah. Veronica?
Can I present mine now? I need to leave in a couple of minutes.
No. 5 minutes to do it, and then we share.
Okay.
But if you are ready, go for it. That will be okay, 5. Yeah. 5 for the fastest.
Yeah, I am. I've been actually using it, so I already had something.
Okay. Just a couple of minutes for the others to catch up.
Okay.
Okay, so if anyone is ready to share, we can just start. I'm going to stop sharing so the other person can share.
Yeah.
Okay, Veronica.
Who said that? Veronica was there.
Okay, go ahead. You can share your screen.
Okay, I'm gonna do it very quickly because I need to leave the house.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is what I've been working on recently. I'm working on critical digital pedagogy and culturally responsive teaching and neoliberalism in post-COVID education. So I already created my alerts. For some of them, I did it from 2020, so they are like relevant.
Recent, yeah.
Yeah, based on what is going on right now.
Yeah.
I also created my alerts. Where do I go? Sorry, I can't see. I'll go back here. Where do I see my, okay, my alerts here. So these are my alerts. I have some.
Okay, wow, you create
people that I
have created.
Yeah, and some alerts for topics as well.
Very useful.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was very quick. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, any other volunteer?
Veronica is an expert. She has been using it for some time now.
Oh, Marcela. Hello, good to have you here. Marcela.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hello. I'm a little busy at my work, but I'm listening to you, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Yeah. Okay, anybody else wants to share the topics you created, the folders, the others you set up?
Well, if you want, I can go, but I really didn't know that you could do all that stuff. Well, so here's Google Scholar. Can you see it?
In a moment, we'll see it.
It's uploading, yeah.
It's uploading. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Okay. Well, one of the things is that when I enter, it usually recommends these authors, whether I want to follow them or not. As for example, Gary. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary here, the PhD.
And Plonsky too.
Yeah, you
Okay.
turn on.
Yeah, but I really
Very
didn't set these up. They just show up there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. These are big names,
Okay.
yeah.
So my library, so these are some articles that I just added. I created these labels, for example, perceptions and performance of students, right? Also self-efficacy, that's something that I'm interested in, how students perceive their own performance. And the alerts, where are the alerts? Give me just 1 second. Well, I just created the alert and I cannot find it now.
Go back to Google, to my library.
The menu.
Okay, here, this. Okay, yes, alerts.
Yeah, alerts, yeah.
So here, for example, here are some alerts that they just set the students' assessment of language skills. But the ones of the authors, they showed up automatically. I didn't set them up, but well, anyway, it's nice to have them. And now the folders. Could you remind me where I create the folders?
Yeah, those are the folders.
Already the labels.
The labels,
right?
yeah, all those labels are
okay.
the
They
folders.
work in a way.
Yeah, perceptions and performance. Yeah, they are the labels or folders. Yeah.
Or there you can assign a label in the bottom part of the
here.
Yeah.
If I want to add an additional one or create a new one.
Create a new one. Yeah. Yeah, labels.
Yeah, useful.
Okay.
And you have your digital library there. You don't need to save everything all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and then your profile. So just keep an eye that there's no another Carlos Mayora.
Yeah, I checked that.
Inflating your numbers.
No.
Misleading people.
But I usually get a lot of these, like, is this article yours? No, it's not. I wish all those that they ask me are mine were actually mine.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah. Well, that was all about this part of how to find the information, and I hope that it's very useful for all you guys. Okay, so, well, now you know some strategies for finding information. Now let's continue with the second part.
Yeah, what about writing? Reading, I mean.
Yeah, well, the second part is about storing and managing references. So yeah, one strategy that we need to develop first is to know how to find information, and then, well, how to organize it to start reading. So there are different strategies, different ways of storing all this information. So one way is just the traditional way. You just save everything to your computer, right? Or to the cloud. Well, in my case, I use OneDrive and save everything to the cloud. But you need to be very strategic when saving the information, when storing the information, okay? So if your topic is about critical pedagogy, well, you need to develop several folders as well, create several folders and assign labels. And they have to be very informative labels. So in my case, well, my research area was language assessment, especially writing, and I was doing a comparative study. So I created labels for this. So comparative studies in language classroom, in other skills, in N1, well, and I started organizing all my files according to these labels, because sometimes we are just lazy and we find all the articles and start downloading, and we have a big folder that is called thesis. yeah, or PhD thesis, or trabajo de grado, okay? Yeah, and then we just start putting everything there, and that's not very strategic. So you need to create different folders and start downloading all the information into folders. In another, they find books according to the author, the year, and you can assign a brief name, or just paraphrase the title of the article. So yeah, this is very key because you start remembering all the authors. Oh, this author said this and this author said that. But then if you start downloading all the articles and you don't assign any name, it would be very difficult for you to find them. And that will make your reading and writing really, really slow. So that's why you need to start developing all these strategies, organizational strategies, and that will help with your reading strategies. You just read, okay, this is the article that I need. So be very strategic about this. The author, the year, and paraphrase the title. You need to write short titles as well, because when you're going to transfer or download your articles to another device, you will have issues transferring all this information or downloading this information because it says, oh, this title is so long, we cannot copy this file. And then, well, you have to spend time changing the titles. So do it from the very beginning. Just select a very short title, very informative title. And well, as Alex mentioned, well, there are several reference management tools. So if you don't want to use your computer or create folders, well, you just can download or pay for a reference management tool or software. All of these, well, are available, but not all of them are for free. So you can see all the features of these common reference management tools. So you can download them for free, but you don't have access to all the functionalities that it has. So we just want to provide you with different names, and it's up to you, you want to expect. Well, personally, I gave up on these tools. First, because as Alice said, the citation and referencing is wrong. So I ended up writing and correcting the right citation. And I said, well, I'm going to do it manually. I'm not going to use all these tools. And also because I started having like some conflicts with Word, with the Word document. When I was inserting the citations and references, well, it just got blocked. And yeah, I couldn't just deal with this. So I decided to do everything manually, and that helped my memory skills. Now I know how to cite an article, a book, a book chapter. Yeah. So that all depends on what you want and if you can afford it. Orlando, you want to say something? We can't hear you.
No.
Okay. So as we are going to share this presentation of these slides with you guys, so you can have access to all the links and you can just explore all this. Part 2, strategies for reading effectively. So now it's Orlando's turn.
Yeah, so up to here, we have seen how to pre-read, let's say, find the information and how to handle and manage all those articles you need. Now you have all that in your computer or up there in the cloud, and then you need to read. What strategies do you use for reading effectively those documents? Because there are lots of them, so you have to read in the most effective way. What are your strategies? Please share with us. You need to raise hand, just take the word.
Well, a common strategy is questioning the author, right? That as you read, you write questions that arise or that you expect of text to be dealing with. So you can write like a set of questions before reading, or actually while reading, you can like ask questions.
Yeah, reading critical in that sense, asking questions
before, while. Of course, it's important to have a clear goal that why you're reading that article or that particular book. I mean, when you are researching, sometimes you don't have time like to read every single article you find. I mean, you can find like 200 articles on a topic. So if you have a clear goal of, okay, what is it that I'm looking for in this one? Well, you can see, okay, this doesn't match that goal, so I'm gonna skip it or put it away for later. And you focus on those that really match the goal that you have at the moment.
Yeah, those are really good strategies. Ask questions, have a clear goal in your mind, and focus on what matters according to that reading purpose you have. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah. Okay. I think I can go quite fast in the next slides because they are mostly what you already said. Well, first, find a good reading environment. It's very important. Something that is not so disturbing. And yeah, what you said, set a reading goal. That will help you adjust your writing speed, of what to focus on, and be attentive to what you are looking for. Next. Next slide, please. Yeah. So you need to set a goal, a purpose. And specific goals or purposes have specific activities. Just as an example, if the idea is to have a general glimpse, a general idea of the text, well, you focus on title and then you ask questions. What is this about? I expect this, I expect that. Then you go to table of contents and you go through headings, subheadings, and of course the abstract and the introduction, which are the general information of the book or the article. This presentation focuses on those introductory parts, abstracts, and particularly introductions. In a moment, we will go to that. If your purpose is to search for specific facts or checking particular information, that's quick reference. Yeah, you go to headings and subheadings to locate the relevant section, and then you go into the section to do the next step, which is deep reading. The next one, Maria. Quick. Yeah, critical reading. So yeah, depending on the purpose, no, next slide, the previous one. Yeah, so there are overall two general purposes that require quick reference, general skimming, quick reading, or scanning and in-depth reading, going deep to locate specific things. Now we can move to the next slide, please. Yep. Skimming, scanning, and in-depth reading. Those are techniques that depend on your purpose. And yeah, like writing, reading is also recursive, is cyclical. You repeat over and over, so it's not a linear process. Let's see some of the characteristics in the next slide. On the next slide, yes, please. Taking some time, right? Yeah. So for skimming is the first things that you can see: headings and subheadings, planning tool, impact of the intervention on behavioral outcomes. So that makes you a big idea of what it is. Also in skimming, you read initial sentences and final sentences of paragraphs or paragraphs of an article. And yeah, of course, you focus on the title, table of contents, figures. Next slide, please. Tables and figures, illustrations. In scanning, you locate specific terms. They are the specific terms or concepts you are looking for are usually, yes, those key sections, initial and final sections, or in heading, in subheadings, or in tables, or in figures. So scanning will help you locate hotspots. Next one. In-depth reading is different. In this case, you use the interaction of the text. When you find a section of the text that is particularly relevant for you, you go deep into it. And you use some of the techniques that Carlos mentioned. You write questions, you highlight. Next slide. Or you underline.
Yeah,
or you
I want
note.
to say something here. Yeah, for example, don't feel frustrated. Don't feel frustrated when you have to read a text several times, because in fact you have to read it. So the first time that you read it, your interpretation must be very different from the second or third or even the 10th time that you have to read it. Because, well, you don't understand the terminology. Sometimes it's so complex. So in-depth reading happens several times, and it happens when you have to read specific articles. So don't feel worried about your reading skills, like, oh, I am so slow, I have to read this several times. Yeah, that happens. That happens because you are getting familiar with a topic, with academic style, because academic style is also complex, and that's also a knowledge, the knowledge that you need to learn, develop while reading and writing and while doing research.
Yeah, and it also depends on the reader, the writer. Not every writer is as organized as we would like, so maybe you need a different strategy. So yeah, that's what I was saying about the in-depth reading strategies. Make comparisons, write summaries, annotations, highlighting, interact with the text. Remember, regarding highlighting, that too much highlighting is not good highlighting. Just focus on the key ideas. A good strategy for in-depth reading is using Excel, for instance, for focusing on specific aspects of articles. This is yeah, I will need to share it in. Malu?
Okay, would you like me to share? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you in Excel, you make columns per aspect, key aspect of a research article. So, well, of course, the identification, author, year, the objectives, the research question, the methodological context, participants, the methodological approach, the findings, the conclusions, limitations, if any, for the research, your critique to the text. This is one that we are using with our undergraduate students for the trabajo de grado. So in the first column, A, you have the document with the link, so they can go to it either in folders in their own computer or on the Google Drive, or just to the web. Identification of the authors and the year. All that is important for citation, which is essential in reading and writing in academic texts. Then they have the topic, yeah. Objectives, just copy paste initially, is a way of extracting the key information and putting it in Excel. Research questions, theoretical approach, etc. This one is in Spanish. We suggest the students to do that also in English. but yeah, depends, or it could be in French or Russian, depends on the languages they are familiar with and how relevant it is.
Yeah, we strongly suggest you to do this because well, it's very useful. You can have a big picture of what it has been done in your area, in your research area, and regarding your topic. Because, well, you start reading all the objectives very quickly, like, oh, so
you
these
can
are mainly
compare the objectives
qualitative objectives.
across the studies.
Yeah, across the studies, exactly. Also the methodology, you can see how they do it, and well, the most frequent methodology. So it's very useful for you for your reading, and then your writing. So, well, this is another way to organize all the information in Excel using all these categories, because that's what you're going to use for being critical in your literature review. So being critical is not just say, yeah, I don't think, no, that's not critical well, thinking when we report studies in the literature review. So we use our critical thinking is reflected when we say, okay, this is the theory that has been used and all the problems that these authors have reported regarding theory, regarding methodologies, regarding context. So that's the analysis that we need to do for when reading and when writing.
So yeah, this is what they call analysis. You split the article into different aspects, the key aspects. No, don't stop sharing yet, Maru. That screen. Yep. So that's analysis, and it is very useful to see one individual article. That would be the row, but also if you have a vertical reading, you can compare literature. So it's very useful for a literature report. Also, as you have several tabs, if you notice on the bottom part, you can have the antecedentes or the background. You can also have a methodology, theory. You can manage that way the literature. But it is going from just storing the information to reading analytically and critically and being able to give count of each individual document or in groups. Okay, it's very useful, we think. Yeah, now we can move on to the next slide. So this is a way that, well, it's adequate for us, all this. We use the traditional tools, Excel and all that, but there are more modern tools like En Vivo, for instance. Maru can explain how to organize this in En Vivo, which is probably better. I don't know. It's just a different way. You can do it also on pen and paper. It's as effective as that. But nowadays, people are more digital.
Yes, I have said in previous workshops, when doing research, or for example, those PhD students, it's good to try different tools and learn how to use them for your research. I have said En Vivo is a very useful tool. So you can not only analyze your data, but also organize your literature review. So you can also import all the files that you have downloaded to your computer. So all the publications, for example, as you can see here on the left-hand side. So all the publications, and then you start just creating labels in folders for these publications. And you start analyzing. So instead of doing it in Excel, you can do it using En Vivo. And you can have all the summary. So you want to know the research instruments regarding your research topic. So you just click on that, and then you'll have all the types of research instruments that have been used, and then you make a decision on your instrument. So, well, this is also very useful for...
Maru Aldemar says that is En Vivo for caleños.
En Vivo.
I love it.
Yeah, En Vivo. Sí, el PAM, todas las N se vuelven M.
Well, that's caleño from Hamundi.
En Vivo. Yeah, it sounds like that. It's just inevitable. Yeah, En Vivo. Yeah, it sounds very natural to me. Okay, so And the last part of the workshop, and this is a practical activity too, after all this information, and Orlando is going to explain.
So the first part was how to search in general for documents, and then we moved more specifically to general strategies for reading, how to handle all of that. Now this is the meat, the core, the bone of the presentation. How to identify the central aspects in abstracts and introductions.
Yeah, and all these moves will be very helpful for you guys to write very good quality abstracts and introductions. Because when you want to sell your thesis or your research, you need to write a very good abstract and introduction.
Advertise. I don't like to say,
advertise or sell it. You need to sell it.
Yeah. Academic writing is highly structured and it has specialized, let's say, jargon, technical terms and all that. So it's very important for us as academics and academics to be, or in development, undergraduate and graduate students, to learn some of those structures of the texts. They are quite similar, both for journal articles and books and book chapters. The structure is quite the same. The overall thing is you have an introduction, and a body or development, and a conclusion or closing section. In journals, you see the abstract, which gives a synthesis of the relevant, essential information of the article, and also the keywords, which are in an even more synthetic way, the key topics of your article or the article you're reading. The introduction, again, gives a very general, a bit more developed in abstracts, and it establishes the relevance, the importance of the topic, and locates the problema de investigación, gap in the knowledge, and locates your study in that gap. The literature review provides the theory, the concepts, marco teórico or conceptual, and the literature, what has been said, the disciplinary conversation. Methodology tells you how the study has been carried out, where, with what tools, what analysis focus, and all the procedures. Results show in a very objective way what was found, information organized, the discussion delves into the interpretation, and from the interpretation you draw on conclusions and implications. That will be the final part. Then, of course, you have the reference lists and the appendices with the supplementary material like data tables.
Yeah, and there are different reading and writing strategies for each of these sections.
Today we focus just on abstracts, mostly introductions. Introductions, yeah. In further workshops, we will work on the other things. Yeah, it is the same for books. Let's skip that part. So the abstract serves several purposes already mentioned. Says what is the study for, the objectives or purposes, the background of the study, the methodology the study used, the key finding or findings, and if the space, the limit of the number of words allows, you can say what is the contribution of the article. It has a specific moves. It introduces, provides the purpose, explains how the study was done, the instruments used, and the results. This is a model from profile. Yeah, it's not self-promotion. They decided to use this one for model in their article. It's 100 words, and yeah, you can see the moves there in different colors. First, the type of study in blue. First sentence, this paper reports on an action research study on language. So you know what type of study it is and what about. Then the objective, what was the goal, what was the purpose. Then how it was carried out. Usually you mentioned the methodological approach and some instruments. with the data collection, what data, how were they collected, and synthesis of results.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, conclusion or contribution. Yes, Maria.
Yeah, so these are the moves that you need to identify when reading an abstract. And it's it could be quite challenging to write an abstract too, because you have to comply with all this information in just 120 words. So sometimes some journals give you 200 words for writing your abstract, but it's quite challenging. So make sure that you include all these moves in your abstract when writing, and that you can identify this information when reading. So sometimes we identify very good abstracts in studies, because you just go to the results, you say, okay, oh, this is what they found, that's very good. But there are some abstracts that they don't say this information, so you have to go through the results section and then start reading, like, oh, what is the summary, please tell me the summary. And then no, you don't find anything like very clear, you have to go to the conclusion. And yeah, it's very difficult to find the results. So a good abstract tells you the results up front. And this is something very useful for the reader and for the audience. Try to mention the results briefly when you write your abstract. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's stay in this on this slide, please. So when reading, you focus on those modes: type of study, objective, method, data collection, results, and conclusions or findings. That's what we should look for in an abstract. The fact that the abstract is at the beginning is not casual. It gives the overall synthetic information about the article. So if you as a reader know which information should be there, it will be very helpful. Probably you don't need to read the whole thing, because with this, you have the key information. And if you find that it is relevant, yeah, you go to the introduction and to the particular sections and you use in-depth reading. So this is very useful. There is never a second opportunity to give good first impression. This is what you will tell you if the article is worth enough, worthy of reading or not. That's very quick about abstracts. Our central topic is today introductions.
Yeah, because I think that abstracts were explained in a previous workshop. Yeah, in a PATS workshop, I think that it was introduced. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the functions of an introduction are listed at the beginning, but I'm going to start bottom up. The bottom part of the screen, up. There are three in general in an introduction. First, you establish a territory, an area, a thematic or subject area. Then you establish a niche, that is to say a specific field in that big territory, or an area in a big territory, and then you occupy that specific area. Establishing the territory is just giving the background. What is this about? What is important, relevant, problematic in some way? And then in the niche, you indicate that the problem, the gap. Lots of studies have been done about this topic. However, and that's the gap, this aspect is still in need for further study. And then you occupy the niche. This study intends to contribute to that gap. So all in all, those are the three moves established by Swells in 1919, quite long ago. There's the CARS system, C-A-R-S, CARS.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Well, sometimes writers use a different approach. So they start from move 3, occupying the niche. So they start saying, stating the purposes of the study and the importance. And then, well, they just go to move 1. So they say, well, this is the purpose of the study. This study intends to do this and this and this and this. And then why? So why is this important in this area? And then what is the specific research problem or gap. So there are different approaches. So you can start from move 1, 2, and 3. But personally, I use move 3, 1, 2, and then 3 again. Yeah, so these are different approaches. I like to tell the reader, this is my study, this is all about, and then why is this important at the international level and at the local level, and this is the gap that I'm feeling or the problem that I intend to solve, and then I rephrase it again. So after all is the relevance of the topic and the problem, we're going to solve this problem, and this is my contribution. So they are different approaches.
Yeah, easy to say, a bit more difficult to read and much more difficult to write that way. Next slide. Yeah, so for identifying move 1, these are some of the particular words that are used. The person interested in this area has heightened the need for the topic, has become a favorite topic for analysis. The study of topic or subject has become an important aspect of. So important, relevance. What is the topic and why it is relevant? Many studies have focused on, during the last decades, this topic has been studied. That's just establishing the territory. What is the topic and what has been in general studied? We already know. That's the first move.
Yeah, and well, you don't have to worry about just inventing phrases. You can use all these prefabricated phrases from the literature. This is academic writing and academic reading. So you don't have to say, oh, how I'm going to be very creative and start telling my story about just using this way. Well, you can use the phrases that are already written in the literature to introduce your topic, and that would save time when writing your research.
Yeah, learning to read academic writing is learning academies, and writing it is becoming in it.
Yeah, it is highly formulaic. Yeah, formulaic. You just the same sentences, beginnings. Yeah. Okay, Orlando.
Okay, after establishing the territory, this is the area, and this is what has been investigated or examined. In this area, you establish a niche, a particular aspect that is problematic. So it is a link between move 1 and move 3, which will be occupying that niche. In this case, some of the words, the typical words, this has been studied. The last decades have been lots of information about it. However, little information, little research, not many studies have examined this. There is need for things like those. So expressions that indicate a gap. The gap or the problema de investigación is the niche. In some other cases, you don't want to be that negative. You use a more indirect approach, and you say most research has tended to focus on this rather than, so you are not so direct in being negative to identify the gap. Previous research has concentrated on, it's a more indirect way of saying it. I prefer the direct way. Maru? Depends on the style. Yeah. But that's for writers. For reading, look for those terms that will help you identify the move or the kind of information you need. The move 3, the final one, or probably, well, sometimes you have a fourth move, but can be part of this one, is occupying the niche. Okay, you establish a territory, a subject area, what has been said, the disciplinary conversation there, and you identified a gap, a need for some more investigation or study or data or approaches. And after that, you say, okay, this study aims at contributing to fill that gap. That's occupying the niche. That's the purpose. So usually, the expressions refer to the purpose of this paper is the aim of this paper is, this paper aims to or aims at, etc.
Argues that, yeah.
Yeah, it's very common. So look for that. Before that, Maru, at the end, in the introduction, you can have another part that can be considered a fourth move, or it's part of the third, which is the overview or outline of the paper. In the case of the thesis, it's like compulsory. You say, okay, the first chapter goes with this, the second chapter goes with this, or this thesis is divided into these sections, and you give an advanced organizer of what follows. It helps the reader to understand and follow, and gives a very good impression for the examiner of the article or the evaluador del trabajo de grado. Very useful. So that's the theory. Now let's do some practice, Maru.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to say, we are going to work again in groups, okay? And I'm going to send you 3 links. These links will take you to some introductions, journal article introduction. So they are very brief. They are very identify the 3 moves. So
Research
when the
articles.
author establishes or the researcher establishes the territory, and then how the researcher establishes the niche, and then occupies the niche.
So what you have to do, the instructions are there at the beginning. Read thoroughly the introduction given and identify the moves. That's the idea. You will be given a table to do it. So
yeah, so this is going to be, as the man said that way, we don't have time. Do you think, Orlando, we have time? I think we can do one. Yeah.
Yeah,
short.
at least one. We can do one. Yeah,
it's very short. So I selected updated articles on, for example, this one about translate languaging into semiotics. That is a new term proposed by, international researchers. Probably, Aldemar, this article can be very useful for you. It's quite recent on this topic. Yeah. Okay, so we selected the introductions of articles. You are going to identify the 3 moves. This is very, very easy. So I'm going to send them.
This is 2. 1 or 2.
Okay. So which one should I send, Orlando? 2?
Number 2. Let's do number 2.
Let's do number 2. Okay. Let's read this brief introduction. This is article. It was a very recognized journal in our field. So read and identify the lines where the first move appears.
Establishing the territory.
Yeah, establishing the territory is related to introducing the topic, the relevance of the topic.
Yeah, the area and its relevance.
Okay, I think that the first 4 lines establish the territory.
Okay. And the research problem or?
The last 3 lines in the first paragraph, from nevertheless to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the purpose of the study, occupying
the purpose of the study
niche.
is the second paragraph. This study integrates the analysis of patterns, processes, and perception to investigate the dynamic relationship of translanguaging, transsemitizing, and learning agency in teacher-learner interaction in social media, both in everyday context and in crisis context.
Okay. So does anybody else have any other idea? Do you agree with Carlos? Are these the moves? well, the parts that reflect those moves. He said that from online courses to Shang, that's the establishing the territory, right? This is what you said. And then, nevertheless, that's the research problem. And the last paragraph, you said that is the purpose. So do you all agree with this?
I think the problem starts earlier.
From where?
From, however, online courses have also been reported to have a negative impact on learner agency due to the lack of synchronous teacher. It's a kind of problem too.
Okay. Thank you, Prophet. Anybody else?
I think, however, is situated in the research territory. And then when it says have been research, teacher learner interactions, and social media studies, and that's that's also is establishing the problem, but it's also situating the research gap. If yes, in the moves, one is establishing the research gap, right? And that's establishing the research gap to me.
Okay, so you think that the second part is like both, like it's in between, it's an overlap.
Yes, these moves usually they overlap.
Okay.
Or sometimes they may be in different parts. Okay. It can also happen.
Okay, let's see. Let's look at the answer. Well, according to the analysis, yeah, the first part is where it introduces the relevance of the topic. So that's the move number 1. Then move number 2, the research problem or research gap starts from however, because these are the typical phrases that we use to state the problem regarding the research area that we are studying.
To state and to contrast.
Yeah. And well, the last paragraph is evident. It's quite evident that is the purpose of the study. So well, that will be the answer.
The third move is quite clear. The first and two, I agree with Aldemar. It's some overlapping there. I prefer from nevertheless, like clear gap.
Well,
okay.
It's not exact science, is it?
No, I mean, these moves, I mean, Swales made identified them, but naturally, sometimes in some texts, they are not so clear cut. And there might be a sentence that might be part of more than one move.
Yep.
What has to be very clear is the one with your own purpose. I mean, that one cannot be blurry.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
on the next slide, we can see from the answers the structure of another introduction.
Let's have a look at this one, the last one, and the answer of this one. So here we can identify, so you tell us if you agree or disagree with this classification of the movements, or the moves, sorry.
Agree.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this is clearer.
But the contextualization is larger.
Is larger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you just play with the words and with the moves. So you decide whether you want to give more emphasis to the relevance of the topic or the gap. Yeah, that depends on the writer and the purpose of the study as well. Yeah, so, well, this was just an example of the moves that you need to identify when reading the introduction and when writing. Yeah. Orlando, you want to say anything else here?
No, that's it.
Little. Okay, well, so as we said before, we require further workshops. Yeah, further workshops to learn how to read and write other sections of the thesis, PhD thesis, master's thesis, or trabajos de grado, because this is academic. These are academic skills, and we need to develop all these skills and knowledge when doing research, as I said before. And there are different moves. So as we are going to share these slides with you, you can just have a look at all the moves and what you need to write in each single paragraph. So these are all the moves. You just have all this information. It's already, well, summarized for you. Okay. How to write the discussion, the conclusion, and of course, after reading, do not forget referencing demonstrates research, gives credit to original author or authors, allows your lecturer to track down the original sources you have used. Yeah, well, not only the lecturer, but the supervisor in this case. And shows that an idea or argument is backed up by evidence. Yeah, well, sometimes undergraduate students think that they have to create this knowledge and that they have just to write, so copy or paraphrase that information and pretend that is their information. So we have to teach our undergraduate students to cite all these authors and studies, and they have to cite it correctly because, well, they have like sometimes wrong ideas about just ignoring sources. And, well, not referencing correctly is considered plagiarism and may result in penalties. So finally, you won't want to spend your days off doing this. So you can have a look at the comic.
Yeah, with this, we finish our workshop today.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Don't forget completing the attendance form.
Yeah, you decide if you want to spend your days off just organizing your references, because yeah, you haven't been organizing strategic about reading and organizing all your references. Well, these are our references. So we use Swells, but there is an updated version from 2014. And well, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.